when you have this owner, Patrick Dumont, right? Is this a scapegoat move on his part? Who was the person that insisted Luka Doncic needed to go?
Stephen A., it was Nico Harrison. It was Nico Harrison's decision. It was Nico Harrison's pitch. It was Nico Harrison's idea to trade Luka Doncic. Patrick Dumont, what I'm told, he looked at Nico Harrison as a basketball savant, as someone that when Nico Harrison speaks, when he has an idea, it's basketball gospel.
This is nasty work. I'm going to say that because oftentimes within the NBA, sports, life in general, when somebody in a position of power makes a decision that is bad, we often blame the face if they are the ones representing the move, but not often the people behind the scenes who you don't normally see that actually have the final say, the control, and the money back in everything that is going on. Now, that's not to say Nico is totally dissolved of blame if we're taking the word of what Shams had to say, but as the owner, you don't have to know everything about basketball, but you should know enough to realize, hey, trading Luka Doncic is not a good idea. Hey, Nico, I'm going to tell you to stand down on this one. And what makes it worse is if you agreed with it and said, you know what, I trust you, give the man more time than 9 months or less than a year, but because the fans were giving you pressure, the team is not doing good, you cave in and fire a guy who you consider a basketball savant immediately. I'm going to show some other clips which include Charles Barkley and react to some more stuff that I've been seeing.
The Mavericks had to do this deal today, not this deal, but this move today to save their brand. They were suffering deeply within their own market, and it was negatively affecting their players. What Nico has said to sell it to the fan base has been a complete failure from the day after it happened, and that is why it got to this position.
I was almost floored by the explanation Brian Windhorst gave. They essentially, the Dallas Mavericks, fired Nico Harrison due to branding and promotion not going the right way because of backlash. I want to remind y'all of this quote that Patrick Dumont gave after Luka Doncic was traded if we're talking about bad PR. Quote, if you look at the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Jordan, Bird, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, they worked really hard every day, but the singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, it doesn't work. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be part of the Dallas Mavericks. If I was a GM, I would be very hesitant to be hired by the Dallas Mavericks. It seems that if I'm under fire for a decision I made that they signed off on and they were okay with, they're not going to have my back. They're going to throw me out to the wolves and make me the poster child for why everything is going bad. And I'll put it in this perspective, right? I run this YouTube channel. Let's say I hired a bunch of content creators because Brian Windhorst talked about it was affecting the players. And one of them came up to me and said, yo, I got this idea for a basketball video. It's a little bit controversial, but I like it. I give the stamp of approval. And then all of a sudden there's backlash. Y'all in the comments going crazy. Other people who work with me don't like what's going on. And instead of stepping in, showing my face and proclaiming, look, we are okay with this. Give us some time. It's early. I just end up firing the guy and wiping my hands clean.
The team that Nico constructed to go win a championship hasn't been on the court. So I find it crazy that everybody's just going to act like Kyrie Irving is this easily replaceable guy. Do you see the Indiana Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton? They look like a completely different team. Yes, they got the #1 pick. Guess what teams that get the #1 pick usually look like the next year? Trash.
Let me expand on the point I just made in addition to what Draymond Green just said. If the Dallas Mavericks fired Nico Harrison, let's say 3 to 5 years later instead of now, the team wasn't doing that good. They were either missing the playoffs or early first round exits. I could understand from that standpoint. You're trying to build a team around Cooper Flag. The additions you made with free agency or trades to get other role players aren't doing that good. That's more understandable because you gave him a little bit of time to try to make this work. What makes this worse is the Dallas Mavericks' recent struggles is not a situation where everybody is healthy, but for some reason they just aren't clicking and it's not leading up to wins. Even if that was the case, it hasn't even been a year yet. You got to let these guys rock out, see what the results truly are from what you did. But instead, the pressure got to them. They needed a scapegoat.
First of all, Nico's a friend of mine, so obviously I'm biased. Nico got screwed 100%. Because if you go back and look at this thing, the trades he made 3 years ago is the reason the Mavericks made it to the finals. The Mavs were a mediocre team until he made those trades. He was doing a good job. Then he had the bad luck with Anthony Davis. But the thing that bothers me is he's just being made a scapegoat. There's no way in the world Nico Harrison had the power to trade Luka Doncic unless the owner of the team signs
Patrick
off.
Dumont.
Charles Barkley is the only sports analyst I've seen within the national media that has taken that position so boldly. If there's anyone else, y'all let me know in the comment section. But what really made me raise my eyebrow, and y'all could again talk about this one in the comment section, what you believe, is this exchange that is now caught on video between Patrick Dumont and a Mavericks fan wearing a Luka Doncic jersey. And long story short, the fan says that Dumont admitted that, hey, we have good intentions, and sometimes within those intentions, you make mistakes. I'm paraphrasing, it was something along those lines. And just to add a bit more context, it was a photo initially that was going viral between this fan wearing a Luka Doncic jersey and the Mavericks owner, Patrick Dumont. Obviously, people are looking like, what's going on here? Then the fan came out and said, this is what Dumont told me. A day later, Nico Harrison's fired.
If Mark Cuban is still the owner for the Dallas Mavericks, majority and otherwise, is Luka Doncic in LA or is he still in Dallas?
I think he's here, yeah.
Could you have ever imagined yourself trading Luka Doncic?
No.
To no surprise, if Mark Cuban was still the majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks, that trade wouldn't have happened. This goes back to my main point that I was making when this video first started. If you're the owner of a team, it's one thing if you say, you know what, do what you got to do, you have full control, I don't want to get in your way. You still have to have enough basketball common sense to look and say, okay, but that trade, moving away our superstar in his prime, you're not doing that one. And that's under the assumption that Nico Harrison was the one who was really pushing this, which is why I also said, and I'll say it again, I'm not trying to dissolve Nico from all the blame here. I'm just saying, don't put it all on him and make the guy the scapegoat of everything that happened with Luka Doncic. Let's not do that. And there's one final thing I want to bring up. I seen in The Athletic, apparently Nico Harrison was pushing Anthony Davis to come back, and the medical staff on the Mavericks was saying, no, you can't do that. This guy's going to tear his Achilles if he comes back too early. In my opinion, if this is true, the reason why Nico was doing that was because he was probably feeling the pressure, the fan base, losing, the owner. He knew that they just had to get this thing turned around and he needed Anthony Davis back as soon as possible. I'm going to leave things right here. Y'all let me know in the comment section if you agree with what I'm saying, or do you believe, nah, Nico Harrison, this is 100% him. He had to get fired. Let me know. You don't got to agree with what I'm saying, but if you do agree, also hit me up. I want everyone's opinion. Like, share, and subscribe. And as always, salute for listening. Peace.
I just wanted to get your reaction to, or what your thoughts were on seeing the news of his firing.
Look, I mean, just the city of Dallas, the fans, players, they always have a special place in my heart. You know, I thought I was gonna stay there forever, but I didn't. So they'll always be a special place for me. Always, I can call it home.